Howdy everybody, got a pretty awesome set of dives for you guys today. As soon as we hopped in the water, we were surrounded by these Jack Crevalle. Now you can shoot these guys, but they aren't the best thing to shoot. They tend to be pretty easy hosts for parasites and worms. They have very poor diets. Unless you're starving to death, it's a good idea just to stay away from them. Very pretty to look at, however. Next, while we're still in super shallow water, I like to do a warm-up dive, just get as much air in my lungs, stretch them out, practice aiming the gun, practice grunting, just warming up for the day ahead. As soon as I started grunting, these mangrove snapper came right over to me. Moving on to the next spot, as soon as we hopped in, instead of Jack Crevalle, it was a bunch of barracuda that were surrounding us. Kinda had to fight through them, they're a little intimidating, but just pushed past them off the sand into the reef. They're all hanging out right on the edge. As soon as we got on top of the reef, it was loaded and dense with really nice sized mangrove snapper. I go to take the first dive down here, and the fish swim right under me at the same time. Mistake I made, I really should have punched to the bottom and just held down on a rock. Instead, I'm trying to line up middle of the water column with this guy. See, he's dancing around me, he's swimming sideways. He knew what I was up to, and he was making it real hard to shoot him. Instead of taking a bad shot, just these fish are super calm and okay with us. Just head back to the surface and just go again. So go ahead, get back, breathe up again, go to make a dive down. See my buddy in the top left, he was already down there. Both trying to get one really decent fish. By the time you shoot one or two fish, they're always going to scatter and move on to a new area. So while they're here, I want to make sure we get something really nice. Holding onto a rock, making some grunt noises, and this pretty decent snapper swims up to me. Super close, the spear just blasted right through him. Super short dive as well, so went ahead and secured the fish and the spear while I was still down there on the same breath. Went ahead, brained him, bled him, threw him in the boat, got him in the cooler on ice. And this is when I realized that the swim back to the spot was very dreadful, fighting a 2-knot current the entire way. You can see all the dust on the camera, it's just flying past us at a pretty decent speed. That was the current just moving all this silt through the water. Holding onto a rock here to stop myself from floating away in the current, and making some grunting noises, and this snapper just charges me out of the murk. As soon as he gets closer, he sees what I am, kind of takes a turn to leave. I get a super good shot through both of his gill plates as he turns. Go ahead, dispatch him, put him out of his misery, and then bleed him. People say bleeding your fish makes it taste better, which, maybe. That's not why I do it. Usually when the fish don't have any blood in them, they're a lot easier to fillet. They're just not slimy, sticky, super slippery while you're trying to handle them. So, I didn't want to swim back to the boat. It may look kind of goofy, but you just poke the fish through the eye, keep them on the end of the spear. Beyond it looking goofy, this actually does give a bit of an advantage as well. Some of these social fish, especially these mangrove snapper, if they see a fish that's close to you and they can't really tell if it's dead or alive, which again, not very smart fish, they'll actually tend to get even closer to you, be a little more trusting of your presence. Doesn't work on all fish, but super social ones like these mangrove snapper it tends to work with. Diving down on the same spot here, I'm waiting for some of these bigger fish to come in. I see these two snapper on the right, they're keeping size, but I've been seeing a lot of bigger fish in the area and I'm kind of waiting for one of them. See the snapper that swam in from the left, and I take a shot on him. Almost ended up getting 2 fish there. Ended up getting a pretty poor shot on this guy. I'm pretty thankful it didn't rip out. See, it's right there in the top corner of the tail. The skin there and the meat there is actually very tough because they have a lot of spines, but still not the best shot placement. Since the current was so bad in drifting, I went ahead and put the spear right between my legs, keep it up off the reef before it gets caught on a rock and anchors itself. Go ahead, stab him in the brain, put him out of his misery, and then bleed him, and then slide him right down the shooting line, keep him near me on the gun as well. Now, on the topic of keeping dead fish on you while spearfishing, you see on the right side that mangrove snapper is just floating in the water, completely open for predators to come and take. This area is really well known to have nurse sharks, lemon sharks, and Goliath groupers. Nothing's stopping one from just coming up and stealing my fish. So keeping fish on you, it's a bad idea. It's kind of like a game of risk and reward. Is it worth fighting a shark over to keep this fish? I don't recommend you do it. I just really didn't want to swim against the current every time I got one of these snappers. There were so many. Ended up seeing a lot of big snapper from the surface in this area. I dove down to kind of see what's up, so you can't see too much from the surface with the visibility today. See that snapper swimming to the cave in front of me, so I kind of take a peek over, see what's going on. See this really decent snapper, and I look up, and another decent snapper just swam right in front of my gun while I wasn't looking. Was thinking about taking that shot there, but these fish were really calm with me, so I just went back to the surface, figured I would dive on the other side of the cave. Kind of watched them come in and out of the entrance since I was on the backside there, so that's exactly what I went ahead and did. Diving down super slowly, and I just grab a rock, make a couple grunts. Got this really decent snapper, he's probably 18-19 inches, and I miss. Shot maybe half an inch below his chin. He just got so close to me I couldn't extend my gun to shoot it properly, so I had to give like a wrist kind of hip shot. So, had to go to a different area. As soon as I shot that gun, all the fish got scared. They all started hiding really deep in the caves, or they just scattered and left. Found a new area that I was seeing some bigger snapper from the surface, went down to see what's going on. I see a bunch of snapper underneath this ledge here, and I'm thinking maybe the big ones are hiding deeper in that ledge, and the closer I get, I see they're all out right on top of that ledge. Making some grunts and just waiting, seeing what's coming in. Again, I've been seeing a lot of really big snapper throughout the day. Got this 17-inch fish that comes in, but I have 2 just like him attached to my gun, so I let him pass. And it was a good thing I did, because this really nice 21-inch snapper swims right in front of the gun. Even though he's only a couple inches bigger, they get way more power and size in that couple inches. You can see this guy's swimming all over the reef with my spear, he's fighting me. I saw the flopper was engaged real good when he was doing his donuts, so went ahead and just got a hand on the spear, pulled him against the flopper, and got him up to the surface. I was really excited about this fish, you can hear it here. So this isn't the biggest fish I've shot, but in terms of mangrove snapper, this is the biggest mangrove snapper I shot. They tend to only get this big, they don't really get much bigger. It's kind of the max size for them, or at least the top end on average for this depth in this area. Go ahead, brain them, bleed them, same protocol, and now that I have 3 really nice fish attached to my gun, I would not like to lose these to the predators. Go ahead, swim back to the boat now. A little bit of an unpleasant swim, again, it's just super tiring, but get 1 fin in the boat, 2 fins in the boat, and then to haul me and the fish into the boat.
thing's heavy. God, I put all these fish on here.
Again, I'm super exhausted from fighting the current that whole time. I had to sit down and take a breather here. So these two snapper are already pretty decent size, but you'll see as soon as I pick up this other guy just how much bigger he is. This is almost a 10-pound fish, probably. So go ahead, swim back to the spot with all the snapper, and I see this green sea turtle from the surface. The only way to get close to these guys is to sneak up on them. You gotta like dive farther away and just crawl towards them on the bottom. Even then, when I got closer, he still didn't like me being there, so we're both trying to swim against the current here to get away from each other. Well, he's trying to get away from me, I'm trying to catch up to him. Both fighting as hard as we can, and neither of us can do it, so the turtle goes ahead and just swims off to the left. I got more fish to catch, so I let him be. We part ways. End up seeing another one of these nice 17-inch snapper from the surface, a little bit shallower here. I make the same mistake I did in the beginning, where I don't swim all the way down to the bottom, kind of try and shoot this guy middle of the water column. You can see the current is just absolutely ripping. I was not kicking there, that was the current dragging me across the bottom, but this fish is dancing in front of me, giving me some weird angles. Thought I had a shot, but I just ended up missing. Whatever dance he did, it worked. I'll give it to him. He more than deserves to live another day. I end up seeing this cave that a bunch of snappers swimming in and out of, so I dive out on the outside of it. I'm just slowly crawling with my hands inside. Don't want to spook these fish. I'm just being real slow, real calm. One of the pretty queen angel fish right there. I think there's 2 to 3 of them in this cave. Sitting here waiting for maybe a bigger snapper to come out of the shadows or come out of another part of this cave. Never did, but there's a bunch of keeper snapper. I just wasn't interested in taking any of the littler ones when I knew there was huge ones in the area. That wraps up the dive for today. Didn't feel like swimming back to the boat, so just went ahead, pulled my knees up to my chest, put my arms on my gun, and just drifted back. You can see I'm moving at a pretty considerable pace. Actually, this is what I was fighting with the entire day, just to stay in place. Thank you guys for watching though. Go ahead, drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you subscribe, I'll let you know whenever I post new videos.